Hi guys! So as some of you know, my amazing planner friend, Planner Girl 777, brought me back an incredible rack from Japan, which included the amazing Jibun Techo that I've already showed you, and two other planners which are equally intriguing. So this is one of them. I'm really excited to show it to you. This is made by the company Marks, which some of you might know because they have a weekly planner called the Marks Tokyo Edge. I think it's called Storage It. It has a plastic zip flap in the front that you can use as a pocket. Miss Vicky B did a review of it a couple of years ago. She's the only one that I've seen review it on YouTube, but you can get them quite widely. I know here in the UK you can get them in Paper Chase. So some of you might know about it because of that. I think they also sell them maybe in the journalshop.com. Anyway, this is the same brand. It's Marks, which is a Japanese company. And this is another weekly planner. So this is called the Edit Notebook, Weekly Notebook, and it's a week on 2 pages. And it's a little bit smaller than A5 size. So this is my A5 Leuchtturm, and you can see it's just a little bit smaller, but it seems to me that it's bigger than B6. This is my weeks, which is a B6 Slim. So you can see it's a little bit bigger than that. So it's kind of between B6 and A5, which is unusual, as in my experience anyway. And it's kind of a soft back, but it's like a faux leather patterned. It's got this almost crocodile-ish sort of texture, which I don't think is coming up very well on the camera, but it has a little bit of a pattern to it, and it's this very nice rich plum purpley color, but it's quite flexible, as you can see. So this cover is attached. It's not like the planners that have a plastic cover that you take off and then inside it's paper, like the Molang or something. This is actually part of the planner. And it says 2017 in gold, and then it says 2017 on the side again, and that is the back. It's completely blank. So it's quite bendy, but it's more sturdy than a paperback, I would say. It's, I guess, kind of comparable to the Moleskine or Leuchtturm paperbacks. It's a bit harder than those. You feel like it has some backing in it, but that kind of gives you the idea. Then it has this black ends piece, which is not that thick. You can kind of see how that is. And then it has this little card, which I like. So One Life, One Edit, Edit 2017. So you see the website here, edit-marks.jp. I don't know of anywhere else to get these, sadly, which is kind of, in a way, I think is frustrating. We were debating whether or not it was a good idea to show planners that you might not be able to get, but we decided that Planner Girl and I, that it would be a good idea because I think it's kind of interesting to see planners that you don't normally get to see, and I'd certainly never seen anything like this, and I think it's a really interesting concept and layout. So it's possible that you could order them from the site, but I'm not sure, and I suspect that it would be in Japanese. So I'm really sorry if there is no way to get a hold of one of these easily, but I hope that you enjoy seeing what it looks like anyway. So Edit Weekly Notebook 2017. So first of all, you've got 2017 year at a glance with a Monday start and Sundays and holidays in red. And then you have 2016 and 2018. So this is the same layout as the Hobonichi. And you've got some lines at the bottom, so you could make some notes here, which I think is quite a nice addition because normally on these year at a glance layouts, you don't have any room for notes, so you can't really put anything in here. And I think this would actually be quite good for forward planning because you've probably heard me say it's a common complaint of mine that in most planners there's nowhere dedicated for forward planning for the next year. So here it's got 2018 and there's no way you could write anything in there, but you could write it here. So you could like circle the date and then have a little key and write in the events there if you're planning for the next year. Then it has this really cool feature that I haven't seen in another planner. The closest that I can think of is Paper Blanks, which has a month on one page that is kind of like this because the boxes are really small, but this is different because this is a year at a glance. It's a year on 2 pages. So it's got these little tiny boxes which I think you could use for tracking. Let's say if you wanted to track one or maybe two things with a letter, some kind of a symbol or color code, you could color in the boxes here, and I think it's really nice for that. Let me just bring this a little closer so that you can see. The layout and the font are really nice in this. They're very streamlined and minimalist. It's not the same font as the Hobonichi, but it kind of has a similar feel in that it's quite sleek and it's just black and white and grey and red, and I like that. The paper is not Tomoe River paper as far as I know. It doesn't feel like Tomoe River paper to me, but it's something very, very smooth and quite thin, so it doesn't feel unlike Tomoe River paper. And I could be wrong, maybe it is, it just doesn't feel like any Tomoe River paper that I've ever felt, but it's very, very nice, smooth, good quality paper. And I did a pen test in this. Let me just flip to the back, because I was curious what this paper would be like. So I tested it with all of my fountain pens, which range from a Pilot Decimo extra fine to a Parker 51 medium. And you can see there is no bleed through. So really good quality, because the Parker 51 is quite a broad pen and it's quite wet. Nothing, no bleed through at all. There is some ghosting, which I think is to be expected because the paper is so thin. I mean, you see here, you can see through onto the other side there, but I would say this is equivalent to Tomoe River paper in terms of how well it takes a fountain pen. So that's really impressive. And then, even better, you get 2017 and then you get 2018 as well. So this would be even better for forward planning. I really, really like this. So this is like almost my dream, in that what would be even better is if they gave you little lines so that you could write out a whole sentence if you had something that you had to book for the following year. But I think this is pretty good. This is better than what you get in most planners. Then you get this really nice feature. It says Plan 2017, Year Vision, and then Year Planning List. So this is completely blank. But actually, because you can see through to the previous side, you can see these little boxes, and you could use these either as boxes or you could use them as lines to write on if, like me, you don't like writing on blank paper, because unlined paper, because my handwriting is really crooked and messy. And then down here you have this checkbox which has 10 boxes. So this could be like your 10 top yearly goals, or you can almost have one per month. It's just 2 months have to be combined. And then you have a year review 2017, and year topics. So you could really ignore these and use them both just for a major list of what you want to get done in the year. Or I think what they've got in mind is that you would use this, you would say, set out your vision at the beginning of the year, and then at the end of the year you'd come back and reflect on it and compare like how many of these things you got done, or memorable things that happened during the year or something like that. Then you have a really cool layout. This is a project timeline. So it says project name here, and then starting in December 2016, you've got one column per month, and the columns are divided by a very faint dot grid pattern, so dotted lines, and then they've got 3 dotted lines in each box. So you see these boxes. So there's a dotted line going like that, and then 3 dotted lines going this way. So you could use these in all kinds of different ways. I love layouts like this. I always get really excited by them, even though in most cases I'm not quite sure what to use them for. I think if I were using this for a work planner, which it lends itself to, I think if you're a teacher or something where you need to keep track of projects and notes, I would use this probably as a kind of yearly overview to track projects, like the progress of bigger projects, and you know, say what I wanted my focus to be on in February, what I wanted to have completed by March, etc. I think it would be really good for that. So it's got December through June on this spread, and then it's got July through January 2018 on this spread. So it's nice because it starts before the year starts, and then it gives you an extra month after the year ends. And then there's more. This is incredible for all the different layouts that it gives you. So it starts with December 2016. And so this is a month on 2 pages, but it's a really interesting month on 2 pages. I've never seen another one like this. So instead of having the month go over most of the 2 pages, it only extends a little bit more than the right hand page. So you've got these 2 boxes on the left hand page, but the rest of it is taken up by this blank box which says theme, and then this is a master monthly to-do list with check boxes. So I think that that's really cool. Again, the lack of lines here is something of an issue for me, but I think that it's a really good feature because you could use it, say, to draw a picture or to make a mind map, and it's actually better to be a bit flexible and not have the lines if you want to use it for that. So you write your sort of main focus for the month here, and then this is a more detailed checklist. So I really like that, and it's got some extra space down here. So the month itself is very nicely laid out. It's again like really aesthetically pleasing. I like the layout. It's a Monday start, which is my favorite. It's got Sundays in red, and then also Japanese holidays. It has the moon phases, which is a nice touch as well, and it has the previous and following months in little miniature at the bottom. And then here it has this little pencil icon, which I think is a nice touch as well, so you could write some notes there at the top. Another thing about this is that it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 boxes. So I mentioned this in my video of the Jibun Techo. This is something that you don't see in a lot of planners, and I really like it. This feature where if you have a month that starts on a Saturday or a Sunday and has 31 days, in most planners you end up getting a half box for those last couple of days because they only have 5 rows for the weeks. But this one and the Jibun Techo both have 6 rows, which means that you get a full box for every day of the month, and I think that's an awesome touch and something that you don't see nearly often enough. So again, I really like this layout. You don't have a huge amount of room in the boxes, but it's reasonable. You can write in, like, certainly you could write in your main appointments for the month, or you could use it like I'm using my cousin at the moment, just to map out general things like when I'm home, when I'm away, when the day is free to do research on, you know, when I'm teaching, stuff like that. And then you can write your to-dos here, and I think it's a really nice layout. So this continues. You get a bookmark to mark the month. There's also one to mark the weeks. So this continues until January 2018. And so you have a little bit of forward planning, not as much as say in the Hobonichi, but you do have this extra month. And because I think this isn't where you'd be doing your main forward planning, because you've got these other layouts to do that in, I think it's, you know, it's generous enough that they've given you this extra month. Okay, now this is where the weekly view starts. So I'll just go to the current week, and you get another bookmark here. So one bookmark is black and the other one is beige. So the weekly view is quite interesting because I've never seen a layout exactly like this. So you have this little box at the top here, which is free. It isn't affiliated with any particular day. And you've got the month and the year at the top and the week number. So it says 6th week, and then it starts on Monday. So you get each day of the week in a little box. And this is all in English, by the way. It doesn't actually even have, it has, say like this holiday, it's got listed here in Japanese, but the days of the week are only in English. So it lists also, so it lists the day of the week and the date, and then it also lists what day of the year it is and how many days are left, which is something that Filofax does and on their weekly inserts, and I really like it because it's just kind of, it's not something that I ever need to know, but I kind of think it's interesting. So today, it's like, oh, 42 days of the year have gone by already, and there are 324 left. That's interesting. Okay, so then it divides each day into 3 vertical columns. Sorry, into a vertical column with 3 boxes. So this is reminiscent of Erin Condren Happy Planner, except that these boxes are tiny. They don't go for the whole page. They only go for the top half of the page, and they aren't walled off. So there's no line here. You see, if I bring this up closer, you can see better. There's nothing separating the days from each other, which almost makes me feel a little bit at a loss. It kind of makes me feel a bit like I'm drifting on an ocean. There's nothing separating one day from another. So if you wanted to use it in some kind of different way. There's nothing stopping you from just making this into one big section here, but that would be kind of confusing because you've got the days at the top. But you know, there's no distinct separation from one day to the next, but you do have these dotted lines dividing it into 3 sections, and then you have a little dot at the side of each section, so you could kind of use that as a guideline to draw a line between the days if you wanted to. So it's quite understated, and I think it's a really nice layout aesthetically. I just find it very, very pleasing. And so you could use this obviously for morning, afternoon, evening, or you could use it for work, home, personal, or you know, any of the other divisions that you can use with that type of layout where you've got 3 vertical boxes. The difference is that because this only covers the top half of the page, you get much less space for each one. And you could put the heading here, let's say if you wanted to, you could say like this is work, this is personal, this is home, or you could just use this for shopping list or for something that's not related to any specific day. Then the whole bottom half of the page is notes. So I think this is quite interesting to me. It seems like this is designed primarily for work where you need to take notes, because my impression is you'd put your appointments up here. Let's say you have a job where like you're mostly in the same place all the time, but occasionally you have an appointment. Then you could put those in here. So you'd be like 3 p.m. meeting with colleagues or something. And then the rest of it could be for notes. And the notes have these little dots. So there's one here, and one here, which correspond to the dots that you get here. So you could divide these note sections into narrow columns if you wanted to as well per day. And then you could use it to make lists. So you can make these into to-do lists for the day. Or if you wanted to, you can ignore those little dots. They're kind of like the dots that you get in the Hobonichi weeks on the left-hand side. So you can use them if you want to, but it's very easy to ignore them. You can hardly see them. So it would not be a problem if you didn't want to use them. And you could just use these for general notes for the week, like say you have a meeting or just random notes or calculations or anything. And then at the bottom it gives you the month, and then it blocks off which week it is out of the month. And that's an interesting way of doing it. It's just this horizontal line running across the bottom of the page. So instead of giving you a little box like the Hobonichi does up here, and the Jibun Techo does as well. So this is the format you have in the Jibun Techo. In here, it does it in this horizontal line format instead. So on the side, it has a little tab which is gray, and it labels the month. And if you can see on the side, it runs down the whole thing. So the same design as the Hobonichi, the Jibun Techo as well, but it's all gray. So this is very monochromatic. Unlike the Hobonichi or the Jibun Techo, this doesn't have any colors. It just has black, gray, and red. And this runs through the whole year. When you get a week that has 2 months in it, it will list both months. So this says October and November. And then when you get to December, it finishes on Sunday the 31st of December. So that is your weekly spread. And then ta-da! The whole entire second half is just note pages. So this is the closest that I've seen to the Hobonichi weeks, in that it's only half planner and then the second half is notes. So I think that this is a really interesting and appealing layout. So if you can see how many pages this is a ton of notes pages. So I think that this would be perfect for someone like me, where I use a lot of notes for in my work planner. And that's why I love the Cousin so much, because I can use the daily pages. This would work really well as well, because you do get a lot of notes pages. My favorite is still the Cousin, because it's got a page per day, so you're guaranteed to have enough notes. But I think this is a really nice layout as well. So they're lined with that kind of dot line. And that's Tails, if you can hear barking. And he's heard something outside. It's possibly James coming home. Anyway, so you get this straight line at the top, a straight line at the bottom, and then dotted lines all the way through. And there is this, sorry about the barking, it's going to stop in a minute. And then you get these 2 dots here where you can write the date at the top. So that is the whole entire planner. And then at the back, you get 2 pages of address, a page of international holidays, and a world time chart, which I think is quite nice, primarily just because it's a pretty map. And then you get some underground stations, which include New York, Paris, London, and Milan, Hong Kong, and Taipei. And then at the very back, you have this space for personal data. And that's the end of the planner. So I hope that you enjoyed seeing this. I'm going to check the website and see if there's any possibility for ordering these. If not, I really apologize, but I hope that it was interesting just to get to see it, and you know that it hasn't been too much of a tease. So as always, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.